All right. Welcome to We're Not From Hollywood. I am your host once again, Faizel John Moment, as always.
I'm Brandon Reines, and our guest today is another Edmonton filmmaker, Ryder Hartman. Thanks for being on the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So now, Ryder, we met, if I'm not mistaken, on the set of Grotesque 2. You were in the audience of the church scene. Is that correct? Is that where we met?
Yeah, that was when I first kind of moved to Edmonton. I wanted to get into the industry really badly, and I just put out a post on YEG Film, and your producer Sam messaged me and said, "Hey, we need some extras. Like, can you come out and fill out the crowd a bit?" And I brought my camera. I took some behind the scenes photos for you
Oh
guys as
yeah.
well, and yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that got started that way. So if like anyone that wants to get involved in the industry, like do what
What would be
Ryder
your
did. Just
background?
yeah, just show up there and then you get to meet a whole bunch of people and all of a sudden they recognize your face and your name and then kind of go from there. And then now you're making your own films. The first one, which is X's.
Autotheist was my first
Well,
one.
Autothiest was your
Yeah,
first one. X's is your newest one, right?
newest one, yes.
Ryder, I was very interested, and I have a follow-up question, but I was very interested in in the film that you made, X's, and like the script being entirely silent. I wanted to ask the process about that.
It was I wanted to write it in because they're a pair of ex-lovers or ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend. I felt like there would be a lot of unspoken conversations between the two, and that's what I really focused on when I was writing the script was what can they say to each other without saying it.
What? How much do you think you learned a lot from Autothiest to X's, or how did that work?
Yeah, I definitely did. Autotheist was it came about. It was for the Fava Video Lab course.
Hmm.
Making a short film from like beginning to end, and that's where I met like pretty much everyone who was on Autotheist came on to X's to help as well. Like our cinematographer Hattie Zunji, Peyton Wilson was in Autotheist as well as
Oh,
X's.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Autotheist. I assume that means something to the effect of "I am God" or "I believe in
Yes.
myself."
Yes. So it's a horror movie about someone in a mental institution who believes that they are God and they've been gifted omnipotence, and yeah, they kind of have.
Oh, that's a cool title and a cool concept.
Yeah.
Specifically about X's, I wanted to ask you what it was like directing your actors with a script that has no dialogue but a lot of implied conversations.
It was challenging, but I think working with Peyton on Autotheist and then going into this one, I kind of knew what I could get out of her as an actor. And, like, yeah, it was extremely challenging, but I knew that she was kind of up to the task of it. So I wasn't really too worried about it, actually. I had full confidence in the actors for it. So.
Oh, brilliant. And was that shot over the course of one, because it all takes place over one night, is that right?
Yes. So we shot that over 2 days. We did the night shots. I think it was like October 26th or something like that, and then the next couple days after that, we were filming at our producer's house.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so that was a pretty easy shoot, and like the film that came out of it was like how long? Because the other thing I noticed is a lot of the sound editing, the sound design, which I guess is important in a film with no dialogue. Is that something that was intentional, or was those things sounds that just came across in the camera?
Well, I wanted it to be, yeah, a lot of the sound design. It carries a lot of the story, and yeah, it does. It helps build up that tension of like what's going on and what's happening. And I went in knowing that it was going to be like a mostly dialogue free film, so I had a big emphasis on what I wanted in the sound design for that.
So is your plan, like you've done a couple shorts now, is your plan like are you working towards a feature? Like what's your kind of like your long-term goal?
So I want to do a couple more shorts, but I am currently working on a couple of different feature length scripts as well as a few
Hmm.
pilots, and I'm just kind of always writing something. Um, the main feature script that I'm working on right now is actually a feature length version of my first short film, Autotheist.
So are you do you consider yourself a horror fan? Or is it just kind of a coincidence that your first two films are horror kind of genre?
Absolutely a horror fan, definitely.
So do you have plans to explore other genres, or are you sticking with horror for now?
I'm sticking with like the next short that I want to do is a sci-fi thriller. Sci-fi and horror thriller; those are kind of like the places I mainly stay around.
And
Yeah,
sorry, you said that was a short that you're planning, the sci-fi thriller?
Yeah, so the next one I want to do is a sci-fi thriller. Yeah.
yeah, I find that they're all kind of genre films, like horror, sci-fi, they're kind of like they're different genres, but they're kind of they're all like genre films, right? So I think a lot of people, so if you like Nightmare on Elm Street, you probably like Aliens as well. Like they're kind of different, but they're kind of similar. So I noticed like it's different, like musical, like those are kind of like way different. But
Hmm.
it's kind of like those like harder genre. It's kind of like they're more like the rock heavy
Sci-fi,
metal versus
the
the pop, you
yeah.
know?
The
It's
Yeah.
the
kind of like
writing in sci-fi and horror, I think, lend themselves to each other. Like if you have a sci-fi film, you can write a horror element into it pretty easily.
yeah,
Whereas what we were talking about last time, Brandon, was a found footage film and like writing a rom-com elements into that found footage film. I think those things are less lend themselves to each other,
yeah.
but I agree. Yeah, horror and sci-fi are almost like cousins.
Well, move
Yeah.
even like the Terminator. It's like it's sci-fi, but it's kind of
Yes.
horror, and people
It's
Yes.
call
like
Aliens horror, even though it's sci-fi. But there are similarities.
yeah, I consider Terminator like a slasher almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? It would fit really well under that banner. It's a slasher. It's got romance elements in it. Terminator's like now that I think about it, it's one of those weird ones.
Yeah, it's a mashup of a bunch of different genres. Yeah.
Is that something you would try to go for, or would you try to stay like a genre purist of like this is just horror sci-fi, or would you try to like work in a love story or what have you?
I think it's always kind of different, especially when I'm writing. I kind of let the characters dictate what's gonna happen. You know,
Agreed.
like I might sit down and I'll start writing something. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a horror. This is gonna be a horror, and then it gets to a certain point, and it's like, oh, maybe this isn't a horror anymore. You know, maybe this is more of a sci-fi or a thriller or something like that. So
I agree. I feel like if your character voices are fleshed out enough in your head, they do the writing more than you. You're just kind of like
you're just along for the ride.
Yeah, I find even things like actors bring that out. Like even like with Grotesque, like it started off it was a serious slasher, but then kind of just the way that Elizabeth acted and everything, like put it all together, it just kind of got funnier and goofier, and then it turned into what it turned into, which is I think better than it would have been if it was serious. But it's like
Yeah.
if you kind of like I'm going to be stubborn and this is going to be horror no matter what. And it's like, well, if it's naturally turning into something else, it's probably a good idea to follow that because it could turn into be something better. As long as it doesn't
Yeah.
compromise like, your vision or turn into complete shit. It's like yeah, you need part of the creative process is kind of just letting it go where it needs to go.
Did where did you move from, Ryder? I know you mentioned you moved to Edmonton.
I was living in Nelson, BC for like 12 years, I think.
And what were you involved with the film scene there, or like did you get involved when you hit Edmonton?
I got involved when I hit Edmonton. There wasn't much of a film scene in Nelson, unfortunately, which was
Ah,
a big part of why I ended up moving here. So
oh, that's awesome. So I'm assuming like filmmaker was something that you just always had in your periphery, even in Nelson. Like, was that something you were like, I'm going to be a writer and a filmmaker, or is that like something that developed as you started moving?
I think it's something I've always wanted to do, and I think that I mean the pandemic really, I was inside for 2 years and was like, okay,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? I'm going to learn screenwriting. So I sat down and I taught myself screenwriting and started writing my first scripts and everything, and it just kind of blossomed from there. But yeah, it's definitely something I've wanted to do since I can remember. So
You consider yourself primarily a filmmaker or primarily a writer, or are you like both or
I'd say filmmaker. Yeah, I do. I actually have a script that was produced that I didn't make for the Edmonton Short Film Career Development Program, Chance Encounter. And yeah, so that was a quite a different experience actually. One of your previous guests, Neil Chase, was my mentor on that
oh sweet.
project.
Oh, was did Chance Encounter show at the Edmonton Short Film Festival?
I think it's still in post production right
Oh,
now.
brilliant!
Yes.
Awesome. Well, you'll definitely have to let us know when it comes out so we can all like take a look at it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
So you're kind of
Uh,
you're open to like other people making your scripts,
Yes.
and that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. It's almost like, especially if you want to make a living in this business, you have to kind of do a bit of everything. Um,
Yeah.
so then it's like I'll write a script like this one's for me, and then I'll write another one. This one I'm going to try to sell. And it's like I'm also open. Like if you hire me, I could be a hired gun too. I think like this, like especially in the indie world, like it's if you're just like I'm going to do this one thing and I'm only ever going to write my own scripts, and it's you got to leave yourself open to any opportunity that comes your way.
Yeah, you
You
got to
do.
kind of like not limit yourself to just doing one thing. Yeah.
So if you had to pick one, if it's like you could only ever write, or you could only ever like make movies based on other people's scripts, if you had to pick one, what would you rather do?
That's a tough one. I think I love being on set. You know, like being on set. The second I stepped on the set for Grotesque 2, I was like, oh, I like this. This is what I want to do. So I think I'd be a filmmaker. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very special feeling being on set. It's like I do a little bit of a stand-up bit about that, being like, being a filmmaker and actor, like you don't get a lot of benefits, but you get to say you were on set.
Exactly.
yeah. And it is like it is nice, especially like I'm mainly a writer, and I guess I do a lot of editing. So a lot of my life is just sitting by myself writing and editing. And it's like I do have some sort of everyone you want some sort of human connection, right? So it's like when it comes time to film something, it's like now I get to be around 50 people for like a week or two.
You get to
And it's
max
like,
out your
oh,
human connections entirely, and then you can go back to editing
yeah, and
alone.
then it's like, okay, and then by the time I get sick of being around so many people, it's like, okay, well the movie's done, and now I'm back to just sitting there myself doing my thing. But it's like you kind of want it is a fun part. Like I think we've talked about this before, Faizel, where it's like a lot of the work is like the writing and pre-production, and a lot of the
Yes,
work is the post-production. The actual being on set is kind of
is
the
the fun
the fun
part.
little part in the middle.
If your
Um,
producers take care of everything and all like your locations are all lined up and like there's no surprises, and there's always going to be a surprise or two, but like yeah, when you actually get to film, that's the reward almost for all the hard work you did in
Yeah. It's kind of
pre-production.
like setting up for a concert, right? It's like, yeah, you got
Yeah.
to lift all the crap and bring it in from the trucks, and it's hard. And then you have this 2 hour long concert, which is the fun part. And then you got all the hard work of tearing it all down. And it's
That's
like,
actually a brilliant analogy.
and then you got like the band who are like the actors where they only ever see the fun part. So they're like, they think that's the whole thing. And it's like, nah, there's people
No.
working behind the scenes that have to do like all the work around it, which is not as rewarding. So it's like the payoff is to they do the fun part.
Yeah.
Right, I heard you say you had a distributor. I was going to ask you how your journey from like making films and then getting them distributed and releasing them has been. Because it's like we were just saying, it's one thing to like go on set, film the thing, and then it's a whole other thing to do the post production and like get the film finished. And then there's the whole other job of like getting people to see your film, which is like an entire skill in itself.
Yeah, I don't actually have a distributor.
Hmm.
Basically we're just gonna be putting X's up on YouTube once we get a cast and crew screening done,
Brilliant.
and just sending it to festivals and trying to get it seen by as many people as possible. That's what we did with Autothiest. Was I tried to get it into as many festivals as I could, and we got, I think it was like 6 festivals we got into, and then we
Wow.
won some online awards and stuff for it as well. So
That's brilliant. And that was your first short film that you made, right?
yes.
It's got to be a really good feeling to win an award. I had a feature that I had made, and like it's still a process getting it released. Brandon's actually been helping me with the Film Hub part, which is a great resource. We'll just keep mentioning it until they pay us. Film Hub is a great resource to get your film distributed.
Mhm.
Um, but like I did win an award for that film for best writing or something like that, and like it's just a random online festival. I don't know if it's still running, but to this day, I hold that little like award. They didn't even send me an award. They sent me an online certificate, but even still, it's like close to my chest. I'm like, they said I was a good writer.
Yeah.
Like it's got to feel pretty good. Your first film, you come up, you step up to bat, and you like swing a home run right out of it.
Yeah, no, that was I'm still kind of reeling from it. We won a best director, best
Oh,
horror. Um,
and
uh,
best horror, like if you think about the amount of people who submit horror shorts, like
yeah,
best horror is a big deal.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so yeah, it's such a good feeling, and it was like, okay, maybe I can do this. So
Yeah, there's always that. I'm sure every filmmaker goes through it where it's like you have this dream of doing this, and then you make something, and then you're like, is this any
Now
good?
what?
And even times when you watch your own thing, it's like, okay, this is it, but like, is this good? Or other people going to think this is good? And it never really goes away, right? Even now, it's like you could always like your seventh film. It's like, man, that one was a bomb. It sucked. Spielberg makes bad movies sometimes. So there's always that element of like, even if you have a bunch of good ones, you it
You can still make it bad.
it could always go bad, and you're always there's always that self doubt. It's like maybe this is going to
Oh,
be the one to finally like ruin my career, and
Yeah.
then it's
you
like,
know,
and sometimes that's the most popular one. Everyone loves that one, and the one you love, everyone hates. Like there's, it's one of those things where you just have to kind of like ignore critics and just like keep making things, put it out
keep
there,
moving.
and see where it goes. But there's always like that, and I guess and winning awards right off the bat is definitely a good start. That other people that you don't that aren't in your circle are kind of justifying it and saying like, "Hey, this is good. We're going to give you a reward." It kind of
Yeah.
means you're onto something.
That's so funny. It kind of dovetails with a different thing I was looking into. I was listening to a podcast about George Cukor, who is the director who directed the original True Grit. Two interesting things about him was he was like a product of the studio system. So he exclusively directed other people's projects. Like people would write projects, send them through the studio, and then the studio would bring him in to direct these projects.
Mm.
So he did True Grit, which was a big, massive hit and got remade. But even up to the age of 64, like in interviews, he'd be like, I'm trying to remember the name of the films that he made, but he'd make movies in his late 60s and he'd be like, yeah, that one was a complete bomb. That was shit. That one was good. And I was just like, man, like even at that age, like, because I think he's directed like 50, 60 movies. And like, I guess it makes sense. You're not going to love all 50 of them.
Exactly.
And it's also like it's not like I mean even like a sports player. It's like you're gonna have some games, even
Oh,
if you're
you're
a
going to
good
have bad
team,
games. You're going
you're
to
gonna
have good
suck.
games. Yeah.
But it's also like as a director, it's like okay, you could direct well, but the cast you have, like some of the actors suck. They might ruin it. It could be ruined
Yeah.
because of the music. Like there's other elements. You know, the editor could fuck it up. The
Yes.
studio could demand cuts and reshoots, and they hire some other guy to direct the reshoots, and he ruins the movie. Like there's so many ways it could go good or bad. Um, so it's like it's one of those things about entertainment where it's not like how many goals did you score? Well, that's how we'll tell how good you are. It's like how do you justify art? There's some directors that people love or hate. Like you're making some creative thing, and it's like it's so
Well, I've
hard to.
found, especially in the internet age, you can make anything, and there's going to be one person, at least one person, that looks at it and says, "This is good." Even though like 99% of the population are like, "This is bad," you'll always have that percent of the
Yeah,
population. And even in older films that got written off at the time of release, like if you look at them now, most of them have developed some sort of cult following. Most of them have like people who are like, "This is good." So you're right, it's so subjective to like judge art.
Yeah.
it's like they say like every movie is someone's favorite movie. And there's movies that it's like I've never heard of this movie. It came out in like 1971, and all
And
of a sudden you
someone is
look it up, and
obsessed with it.
there's like a big fan base for it. There's like Facebook pages of this movie, and it's like what I've never heard of this thing, but it's like people love this particular movie. It's so even like my first real short film, I'm in love with a dead girl. Um, there was someone on Twitter that was like, "This is my favorite movie of all time." I'm like, seriously? This 10-minute short film I made, that's your favorite? It's like, thank you, but like, are you insane? Uh,
Yeah.
but it's
Have
like,
you
I'll
watched the
take
other
that.
ones?
But it's kind of
Oh,
like it's you have to like find your audience, right? It's like I'm gonna make this thing, it's gonna be mine, and a lot of people are gonna hate it, a lot of people are gonna love it, but you're not making it for the people that hate it, you're making it for the people that love it. So
Yeah.
it's like, and no matter what you make it, especially with YouTube, like we were saying before we started this recording, like you put it on YouTube, it's potentially in front of billions of people. So some people are gonna find it, some people are gonna like it, and bam, they're your audience, and they're gonna watch all your stuff.
have you thought a little bit about the kind of audience you're trying to court, writer? Is that a thought that comes into your head, like I'm trying to get the art crowd or whatever, or is it just like I need to make these films and put them out?
I think I actually I don't really keep the audience in mind when I'm writing or
Mhm.
filmmaking. I'm very adamant about just making films that I want to watch because I
They're
think
not
that
out
other
there.
people might want to watch those as well. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
I
brilliant.
think the best piece of advice I heard is like I make films that I want to see because the films I want to see aren't in the theaters, so I have to be the one that makes them.
Exactly.
And that's it just shows you have some sort of integrity. Like if you're always out there like analyzing YouTube to figure out, hey, look, this movie's popular, I'm gonna copy that one. Hey, now this movie's popular, I'm gonna copy that one. then it's like, well,
Yeah.
no, you're just a hack. It's like don't. Where
Exactly.
it's like you want someone that just has like the courage to be like, I'm gonna make this thing. I don't care if it's popular or not. I want to make this. It's like that kind of just like attracts people that like it just shows you have some kind of integrity. Like I don't think
Hmm.
Tarantino was trying to chase down what was popular at the time. He's like, I'm gonna make a Tarantino movie and everyone's gonna copy me. And
Yeah,
then like that kind of attitude
exactly.
is attractive.
It is.
So what are you doing next? Do you have any other like films in the pipeline?
We've been trying to get this film Invaders made. It's a 60s set sci-fi thriller.
Oh,
And it's about a young woman who thinks her dad is a shape-shifting alien from the moon, so she takes him hostage.
Ah,
And it's such a fun script, and we've casted it. We've basically done all the pre-production, storyboarded it. We've had table reads, we've had the production meetings, and we're just trying to find money to make it right now. Um, I'm also working on a part two for Exes.
oh,
I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but there was a post credit sequence in there,
hmm.
and that sets it up for the next part. And then yeah, I've got like 12 other shorts written that not going to make all of them, but I'd like to make a couple of them, and then yeah, hopefully move on to a feature.
awesome.
What's your experience planning a period piece? Because that's one of the most difficult things anyone can film, I feel like, is like a straight period piece.
Yeah, it's that's why we need like a bit of a larger budget for it, is
Of
to
course.
the set deck and the wardrobe and everything. Luckily, I wrote it as a one location film, so that mostly takes place outside, so it's a bit easier to sell the period piece. But everything inside the house before they go outside
Mm.
has to like really set that tone. So
Oh, so set decorator is gonna have a fun time with that one.
yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, we're almost out of time here. So where can people reach you if they want to check out your work?
They can find me on Instagram, g.ryder Hartman. You can go on YouTube. I think it's the same on YouTube is g.ryder Hartman, and yeah, and that's where I'll be posting. Like Autothiest is up there now, and X's will be up there in the next month or so. So
I'm gonna go watch Autothiest because already that title sucks me in. So I'm kind of like, I gotta find out what the title relates to the film.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show, Ryder. It was great meeting you, and thanks for talking with us. And good luck with your next project. And hopefully, we'll have you back on when it comes out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Keep it easy.
Cool.